produces over 70% of our food. Fellow citizens, the results are undeniable. Maize production is up. Prices of flour is down. The tea sector is rising. Coffee is rebounding. Dairy is expanding. And the sugar industry has been revamped. By strengthening value chains, cooperatives, irrigation, and processing, we have built systems that work for our agricultural sector. And now, with millions of farmers no longer forgotten, we are ready to walk with them to the next chapter of economic freedom. 3 years ago, education was in distress. Classrooms were overcrowded. Many universities were technically insolvent, and teachers were overwhelmed. Today, we have hired 76,000 teachers, and by next month, a total of 100,000 teachers, the largest recruitment of teachers in Kenya's history. We have built 23,000 new classrooms, and 1,600 laboratories are under construction across the nation. Importantly, through the student-centered funding model, we placed the learner at the heart of our reforms. For the first time in our history, scholarships and loans now follow need and merit, ensuring that every deserving student has a chance and a just and equal opportunity to pursue their dreams. Nearly 500,000 students have already benefited from this funding model. Students who under previous systems would have been excluded by policies that failed to recognize them. This reform has lifted the financial burden from families and enabled students to choose courses that align with their talents, with their aspirations, and with the needs of our nation. Our healthcare, we have another irrevocable decision that no Kenyan should be too poor to live. For decades, universal healthcare was spoken of, but in our time, it is being actualized. We engaged 110,000 community health promoters who are now reaching millions who were once excluded, forgotten, and without access to healthcare. CHPs have already visited over 9 million households, screening millions of Kenyans for various ailments, including diabetes and hypertension. At the same time, we built a unified health information system that now gives us full visibility of our health facilities, patients, their progress, enabling us to track healthcare delivery in real time. Today, over 28 million Kenyans are registered under the Social Health Authority, up from 8 million under the old system. That means 19 million Kenyans who were once forgotten are now in the healthcare equation. Among them are 2.3 million vulnerable Kenyans, orphans, widows, and the elderly, whose healthcare is now fully paid by the government of Kenya. Healthcare was never meant to be a privilege. It is a constitutional right. And with the realization of this right, we are ready to walk with all Kenyans into the next chapter of economic freedom. For the millions of Kenyans without employment, we moved beyond diagnosing the job crisis to deliberately creating opportunities through the bottom-up economic transformation agenda. For decades, housing, while being a constitutional right, was promised but never delivered. Housing is not just about shelter. It is collateral. It is graded worthiness. It is stability. And it is the first step out of poverty. In just 3 years, through our housing program, over 240,000 affordable homes, hostels for 180,000 students, 30,000 institutional housing for our military, police, and prison officers, and over 400 new markets for our traders are under construction across all our 47 counties. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the largest public infrastructure transformation ever undertaken, not just in Kenya, but also in our region. So far, standing at an investment of 650 billion. Through this program, more than 480,000 Kenyans have secured jobs and enterprise opportunities across 300 active sites, from artisans to technicians to engineers and architects, shaping a new skyline in Kenya. We have ring-fenced billions of shillings for the Juakali sector, fully integrating their long-neglected engine of craftsmanship into the national construction value chain. Today, Juakali artisans supply doors, windows, fittings, furniture, and fabricated material to projects in our affordable housing program across Kenya. In the digital and creative economy, we have trained 2 million Kenyans in digital skills, and nearly 300,000 are already earning income. Through the Kazi Maju program, nearly 500,000 Kenyans have secured well-paying job opportunities abroad in the last 3 years. We have also launched the Kenya shillings 20 billion Nyota program to support 820,000 young people with training, with mentorship, certification, and business capital. The first phase is complete, with 12,500 beneficiaries already receiving their first business support, and the national program is now being rolled out across the country. Together, these actions reflect one clear national purpose: to open doors of opportunity for our youth, equip them to succeed, and empower Kenya's greatest strength, our young people, to lead us towards prosperity and economic sovereignty. As more students live in decent accommodation, as more traders conduct their business in dignified settings, and as more public servants get access to housing, we are fulfilling our constitutional mandate. And with that foundation secured, we are ready to walk with all our people into the next chapter of economic freedom. Ladies and gentlemen, through the bottom-up economic transformation plan, we have consolidated the gains of political independence and the democratic freedoms won. Through deliberate social engineering, we have built systems that ensure no Kenyan is left behind. And having ensured that we are carrying everybody along, we now have both the opportunity and the firm foundation to charge forward into the next chapter of our national journey, Kenya's economic freedom. With the measures we have put in place to restore dignity, inclusion, and opportunity, we must now press on. It is time to step up from the bottom up, charging forward full steam to economic freedom and take Kenya to a first world economy. Before we accelerated this ambitious agenda, we took the difficult but necessary steps to stabilize our economy and restore fiscal discipline. Inflation has fallen from 9.6% in 2022 to 4.5% last month. The shilling has stabilized at about 129 shillings to the dollar for nearly 2 years. Our foreign exchange reserves now exceed $12 billion, the highest in independent Kenya. Our successful Eurobond redemption reaffirmed to the world that Kenya honors its obligations. Our economy has grown and is now the 6th largest economy in Africa. At the same time, we have made bold national decisions to save more of our income. Through the new NSSF contributions, the fund that had mobilized Kenya shillings 312 billion from independence to 2023 has now grown to 670 billion in just 2 years. We established the Financial Inclusion Fund as a strategic intervention to correct deep market failure, one that had denied millions of Kenyans access to affordable credit, one that had blacklisted in CRBs, disregarded by banks. They had been left trapped in frustration and despair. Today, Hustler Fund has become one of the most transformative instruments of empowerment in our nation's history, disbursing over 80 billion and expanding the margins of financial inclusion at an unprecedented scale. Over 9 million Kenyans are now repeat customers, and more than 7 million who were previously CRB blacklisted have successfully repaired their credit histories. It has restored dignity to millions. It has brought them back into the equation. They are no longer left behind. Ladies and gentlemen, these reforms have stabilized our economy, restored investor confidence, and enhanced Kenya's creditworthiness. As we set out on this path of economic independence, let us remember that we are not the first to stand at such a crossroads. Nations like South Korea, Singapore, Hong Kong, and Malaysia once stood where we stand today, with limited resources, modest means, but armed with immense courage, determination, and ambition. Prosperity was not handed to them. They reached out for it. They rejected the ordinary. They refused to be prisoners of their circumstances. They believed in themselves and invested in their people. They were patriotic to their nation's cause and demanded excellence of themselves. Today, they stand as first world economies, not by accident, but by deliberate design, by intentional choice, and by purposeful conviction. Ladies and gentlemen, Kenya can, must, and will do the same and more. Let me repeat. Kenya can, must, and will do the